everyone, Jack O'Connor here. I'm our head of financial planning at O'Connor Financial Group, as well as an advisor. And I'm joined by Daniel Westergaard, who is also an advisor, as well as our chief investment officer. And we came across an interesting little tidbit as it relates to markets and investing that we thought everyone would appreciate hearing about. This first sketch that we're showing on this slide is something that we've shared in the past couple months that we think it actually just pays to keep coming back to and circling back to just because it is really helpful. It's a Venn diagram looking at things that matter and things that we can control, and the overlap is what we should be focusing on. And there's a lot of different ways that this can apply, but as it relates to markets and investing, we can't control what markets do over short time periods. And so Daniel has an interesting little takeaway as it relates to this.
Thanks, Jack. So when we look at market performance for 2023, we're usually looking at the stock market or ownership of companies. One index that we often use is the S&P 500, which is a composite index of owning 500 of the biggest and some of the most well-known names in the United States. So we looked at the market performance for these 500 companies through the beginning of October. And what you can see in this chart here is that those companies are up about 9.5% through the beginning of October. But when we parse it out into two different groups, we found some really interesting data. So 7 companies, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla, are all up about 10%. The other 493 companies in this index are actually negative for the year. They're down about 1%. So what we noticed here is an interesting set of data, but what we wanted to relay to you as our clients is this is very unusual from a historical perspective and can't be acted upon as an investment strategy. So we wanted to reflect back on this performance, but also make note of the fact that this is why we always start with financial planning, then an investment policy statement, and then a construction of portfolios. The reason for that is who knows what may happen the rest of this year in the equity markets, and who knows what may happen in 2024 and on. But this is an interesting set of data that we wanted to make sure that you understand how and why the market's performing the way that it is.
Thank you, Daniel. If you have any specific questions as it relates to some of the content that Daniel just spoke through, or as it relates to your specific situation, we'd love to set up a phone call, a Zoom, or an in-person meeting to discuss further. As always, we're here to serve you, and we look forward to being in touch soon. Thanks.